Heyo, it's Mighty Mike, and we are back for the attack. All right. So if you were with me earlier there, little technical difficulties, but we are back and ready to rock. So we're going to start this off here with a spring 1988 Hit Parader review, and this is pretty special. Goes back and take a quick look here at the first inside page. Looks like we got Guns N' Roses. New LA Wildmen pull no punches on debut album. If you can kind of remember when that first came out, it was Wild and Woolly. Really cool stuff when it first came out. It was a lot different than anything else that was really out there at the time. So that was something really special at that point. Yep. Alright, we're just still trying to take a quick look here on I think we got this. Let's see. All right. All right, here we go. We rocking and Z-rolling. We rocking and Z-rolling, people? It certainly seems that way. Haha. All right, let's get it then. What up, people? Super Saturday here with Mighty Mike coming at you, and we're going over this Hit Parader 1988 Spring Edition. On the inside cover, we have Guns N' Roses. These are still very highly collectible. This really depends on where you're looking at to pick these up. Of course, you got eBay and a lot of smaller other places that you can get it, Amazon and whatnot, but they're still hard to come across. And the ones that I got, I'm really holding on to at this point. I'm going to try to do a weekly review of these, bi-weekly if we can, and see what we come up with, ear by ear, and see how things go. But this inside cover has this was the Hit Parader yearbook, spring edition, 1988. I assume why, because at that point in time they were just starting to take off, and right here it says new LA Wildmen pull no punches on debut album, and yeah, at the time it was a lot different than everything else that was out there. You had the Poison Cinderellas and stuff like that, but when these guys first came out, it was a lot harder, grittier, and then they were on the sleazier side. So there you have it. You kind of just remember what you were doing back then. When that came out, GNR, what did you order up some Dominoes? Yeah, Sixer with you, OV splits or something crazy like that. Oh man, good time. And then I'm just gonna go page by page here and kind of reminisce a little bit, I suppose. Ace is back, and on you know, it was in that like age, glam age, whatever you want to maybe call it. And he was just playing straight up hard rock, like he kind of did in Kiss, but he just took it his own way there. And that was a really great album itself, too. All right. Cinderella, Bound for Glory, Night Songs. Good stuff. That was a really good album. Really took them from nowhere to somewhere. Doug Mark's Metal Method, guitar lessons. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this all the time. Woodland Hills, Cali. All right, it was just there not too long ago. Not Woodland Hills, but yes, Cali. This was in almost every issue of Circus magazine and also Hit Parader, and pretty much all of them at one point. Uh, Never looked into it, but must have known what he was doing because he was in every single one of them. Great player, though. So, let's see here. Jet Boy. Now, they currently have Metal Mayhem on MTV Classic, and they were recently on. I wouldn't say recently on because it's basically Headbangers Ball, all older videos from back in the Headbangers Ball day, and just revamped into MTV Classic. New episodes under the banner of Metal Mayhem, and I remember that Jet Boy video. Helix, they were kind of under the radar band, but definitely were getting airplay, I guess you'd say, on that MTV era with the videos. And basically that's how you knew what was coming up next when you went to the record store. Remember the record store? Before the CDs came out, you actually got records and cassettes. Actually, it was cassettes for me. Yeah, it was all about that. Bonfire, they were one of those under the radar bands too at the time. Watch for the spark, but don't touch the light. All good stuff, though. Whitesnake, they were riding high around that time, right? Sure they were. And he quotes here, I don't want to be a casualty of this business, and I don't want to work with people. There you are, boy. Set out to be. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Get it, get it, get it. Yeah, I love going over this stuff. Good stuff. Just feel like I gotta do it. Whether I was doing it on the channel or not, I'd still be looking at these things on a Friday, Saturday night, having some beers, doughs, hanging out. Remember rocking with like Dockin'? I know you do, boy. We were playing this stuff back then. Remember those riffs? Hee hee. Dockin' on the Attack, Back for the Attack. That was a great album. And actually, I still have that on cassette, too. They were really, really on top at that point. Testament, EZO. And they were just coming up on the other side, the heavy side of things. If you ever headed out to one of your local rock bars at that time, trying to sneak in, getting in with somebody that was older, maybe. I remember a lot of the bands at the time were covering Testament songs um, on stage. So yeah, Testament was pretty hot at that time too. Easy O, definitely one of those MTV era headbangers ball. Yeah, boy, I got a lot of stuff I gotta bring out and show you. Definitely more than just the magazines. I got something to blow your mind on the front cover too. You're not gonna believe this. Somebody left their initials on this. TNT. Bam! Set to explode. And boy, did they. Uh, Tell No Tales. That was a great album, too. Very melodic, a lot of guitar stuff. Uh, I actually remember going down to the record store on a Friday night, walking around the mall and picking that up. Definitely. Definitely good stuff. Walking around getting Orange Julius. Hanging out in the guitar shop upstairs, right? Yee. All right. I'm not going to get into too much detail. I'm just going to go over the meat and potatoes part of the magazine itself here. Um, just to show that, these things are still collectible, and especially if they're in good shape. AC/DC, although a great band, obviously. At that point in time, I don't remember listening to a lot of it. You could be at Keggers and it was obviously on all the time. But I just don't remember picking up anything in particular at that time. But yeah, it would be in I guess this issue, Hip Parade Yearbook, so I could see why it would be in there. It says right here, it takes a look back at the life and times of the legendary band. And obviously, there's just a lot to go over on that, so we're not going to even touch on that. We're going to just stick on the 80s part of this because that's what this is all about. And so is the channel. And this is one of my favorite bands from at that time, Loudness. Raiders from the East. Oriental rockers take aim at stardom with hurricane eyes. Really good album. Great band. A lot of good riffs. A lot of good riffs. BC Rich, the crackle guitar. Now I had something similar to that, but it was white. Tony McAlpine. I didn't really get into the solo type guys at that time. I was into the full-on bands, and not to take anything away from him or Yngwie, at that point it was all about the full bands and the just time, the era, the look, the sound. Those guys had their time though, a little bit later on. Not to say that they really didn't then either, but. And then you got Dio, timeless. Malice, Loud and Proud, another one of those under the radar bands. Florida Rockers Unleash, latest dose of metal mayhem. There's that term again, metal mayhem. You can check it out on VH1 Classic on Friday nights, 9 to 1. So, if that's something you're interested in. And then, of course, Tesla at the time. A lot of the cover bands at the time out at the bars were definitely playing Tesla. I remember that stuff for sure. Judas Priest, the Metal Masters. Yeah, that look right there, definitely part of that era. And there's Yngwie, like I said, they were all coming out at that time, and he was definitely there doing his thing. Just not something I was into as far as instrumentalist at that point. Uh, Liked a lot of his stuff, but I was more into the full-on band thing at that point. And Lita Ford, of course. Kiss Me Deadly. Remember that video? And even Kiss changed their look and got into the whole colored guitar thing. BC Rich was huge at that time. A lot of us ourselves were playing that. And my buddy George that's watching, he had one too. I think we all did at one point. It's just a sign of the times, but Kiss was still rocking really good at that point. Crazy Nights, I remember that video. Ozzy's Straight Talk. Well, not too much to say about Ozzy. We all know the man, the myth, the legend. Right? And there he is, Randy Rhoads. Probably one of the greatest riffs of all time. Crazy Train, right? Poison. Partying to Platinum. Oh, come on. Does somebody have to really do this to the inside of this? Oh, we must have been young. Oh, God. That's terrible. Oh, we gotta turn the page. Poor Def Leppard. Oh. Who wrote that in there? So... Dude, I don't know who wrote that in there. That's crazy. Somebody must have got a hold of this magazine at some point. Lord, terrible. Anyways, there's Rick Allen on his, I believe it was the Simmons drum set. And he had to configure that all himself, and he figured it out. I give him all the praise in the world for doing that, coming back and playing better than ever. There's the man, Phil Collin, Ibanez. That's before he switched over to Jackson, right? Wasp, loving it. Love me some Wasp, right? Raw and Rude. Blackie the Man. Blackie's Boys Defy Convention and released live in the Raw. There's the Madman himself. If you remember that scene in the movie Decline of the Western Civilization Part 2, when he was in the pool, kind of summed up the whole era, I suppose. All the excess and the booze and whatnot. You got some Striper going on here. Joey Tempest from Europe. Final Countdown. Sammy. The Red Rocker, right? Yeah, the return of the Red Rocker. Oh man, somebody definitely got a hold of this magazine. This wasn't me. I didn't even know that was in there. Who wrote all over this? God. Well, Grim Reaper. British Bastards rally from adversity to release Rock You to Hell. Yeah, dude, I remember that. I think magazines were on the wall. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yep, they were plastered. Remember moving the beds, well, the posters cut out and hung up on the wall. It was so awesome. That was great. Domino's pizza, beer, rocking out on your guitar, polishing it up. Hell yeah. And then watching Headbangers Ball when it came out. Actually got some Zeppelin in this one. The rumors continue. So there was rumors even back in '88 about the band reforming, but as we know, it never turned out. Guess we can never say never, but who knows? Here it is. I love it. Hit Parader's 1988 heavy metal calendar. Look at this. Back when you actually had to fill stuff out and send it instead of just pushing a button, right? Here's some back copies. I don't know if anybody had any of these. Looks like 87. Okay, so you got Def Leppard, The Crew, Judas Priest, Jovi, and again Motley Crue in July. Oh, I remember this stuff. I don't think I ever ordered any of this stuff actually out of here. No, I definitely didn't. I would have remembered that. I don't think I had access to any of that. Credit card and CUD orders, and at that point in time, definitely no credit card, and I wasn't getting no COD. Living in my mom's house in a small bedroom. That wasn't happening. No credit card. No. T-shirts, rock tees, back patches, posters. Basically, you went and got all this stuff at the record store when you went to grab your cassette at the time. They had all those pins, t-shirts, everything else like that right inside the store. I definitely need to do this. You get a lot of trouble with this stuff. Musicade was like the penny thing there. Penny per tape. All of a sudden you're getting 100 tapes and all this money's going out the window and you don't know what you bought. That happened to somebody I knew actually. This is how I used to get my lyrics when we had some jams, jam time, band practice. Just wrote them down word for word and then just went for it. Into the Night by Ace Frehley. Alright. And there's those necklaces and stuff we were talking about. Metallica. Subscribe now. I just kind of picked them up individually, actually. Heavy Metal Fashions. There they are, all those t-shirts. Dream Warriors. Dokken. Carbon was really big at the time. I remember that. uh, yeah, I hear you, man. Man, now this stuff brings back the memories, though. All right. So that pretty much takes in that one. That's that hit parader there. Oh, here you go, boy. Look at those initials. She got a hold of this magazine at some point and wrote that down. That's crazy. I can't believe that. You know who that is, right? From back then. Had to show you that. All right, so now got a little Circus magazine for you. House of Lords. They were actually just on that Metal Mayhem too. Oh, Casio action. So here you got it. November 30th, 1988. And again, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, White Lion, Bon Jovi, Anthrax, Slayer, Def Leppard. What a mix. Then again, if you watched any of the Headbangers Ball, there was quite a mix on that too. We're just going to kind of focus on the inside meat of the issue here with the pictures. Kind of take us back a little bit. There it is, Metallica, Queensryche, Ozzy, Anthrax, kickoff concert tours. So we had Hit Parader, now we're on to Circus. Again, 1988. November issue. Pearl Export. Similar to the drum set I won back in 95. There we go, Tom Kiefer with his Gibson. 4-track, I remember having that in the garage at some point. Oh, wow. PV pedal. Yeah, I remember these things. Adrian Vandenberg. And he actually had his PV guitar too, so that was good stuff back then. I remember having a PV Bandit amp. I think my boy here too, he had his PV back then. That thing cranked. I remember using that in the garage for jamming out. Sounded really good. Don't quite remember KMD, but if Richie Sambora was using it, I imagine it was pretty good. Got some Europe there. Bon Jovi. They go into a little bit of Guns N' Roses. And that's LA Guns down there in the bottom corner. A lot of BC Rich going on back then. Greg Howe. Of course, the other big drum set of the day back then was Tama. Remember Big Lou playing that, huh? His black Tama set was awesome. There it is, Steve Riley, LA Guns. Great looking kit there. See, look, man. Something was cut out there. Guess that made the wall. It must have made the wall. I don't know what was there, but Rambo 3, Bright Lights, Big City. Big movies of the day. Probably hitting the mall, grabbing a movie on a Friday night, walking around. Oh, here it is. 12 heavy hitters for a penny. And they get you locked in somehow, and before you know it, you're broke. I did have all these cassettes, though. I had a bunch of them. I still do. Bon Jovi, Bad Medicine. The Scorps. EMG pickups. Last year you gave them Poison. This year, give your friends Guns N' Roses for the holidays. So it goes to show who was hot at the time. Actually, I'm missing a page right here, so that must have made the wall too. All right. There's some GNR. Axle, select pickups. And they were made by EMG. Tiger Tails, very underrated band. Great stuff though. J Pepper. All right, we're back. White Lion in all the glory back then. Big old Ludwig set. Yeah, it says right here, White Lion succeed without bad boy cliches. Guess you could say that. Vito Bratta, he kind of fell off the map as far as playing goes. He just kind of, after the band broke up, that was about it. He went into his own thing, started a business from what I heard. That's kind of confirms how he is. Not buying Ferraris and crashing them into trees. looks like we missed a few pages here, so let's try to get that. Okay, it looks like it's poisoned. Bobby Dahl with his BC Rich Warlock bass. CC with his BC Rich reverse headstock. Is there a page in between here? No. All right. Ricky Rocket. Good stuff. Good stuff. Give you a chance to kind of look at that. Metal Haven. Another one with t-shirts, back patches, all that good stuff. And we got some Def Leppard going on here. I actually had a pair of jeans that looked exactly like that. Rick Allen with that drum set, rocking hard. Got to give these guys a lot of credit. Looks like we're missing a page there. Oh, Cinderella. Pocket Studio, wow. That's going old school. Portable rehearsal studio in your ears. I remember this thing. That's insane. There's all your t-shirt and gear. Yeah. Some more Cinderella, huh? And there it is. I remember seeing this in every magazine back then. Wow, even a Sam Ash article back then. Of course, pretty big at the time. Going into Record Town, finding all that necklaces, jewelry, t-shirts. Pretty big at the time. Dana Strum Slaughter back in the day. Some more Ingve. Dog marks right next to that. Like I said, pretty much in every issue back then. Article about Flotsam Jetsam. Back when they had Jason Newsted, right? I like how they did these test reports back then. Good idea of how to really figure out the gear, what was hot at the time. Carvin tube amp, list price $649 back then. Some Zildjian symbols. Cutting out something and must have made the wall. I think that's going to about wrap it up. All right. LA Guns. You got Eddie, Pink Floyd. And that's the back page. So, made it through another issue. You had Hit Parader Spring 88, and then you had Circus Magazine here, November of 88. So 2 for 1 tonight, just around 45 minutes into it. Money Mike wants to thank you for hanging out, and we'll go ahead and try this again. Hopefully next week, maybe not, maybe the week after that, but I'm going to get some of those issues together and some of the older things that we do have from the 80s just accumulated and kind of just reminisce from time to time about that kind of stuff, because it seems like you guys are really into it, and I am too. So if you got any of those collectibles, leave me a message and we'll see what we can scrounge up here and kind of go over. But definitely, this magazine collection is something I enjoy, and I enjoy going over it and just reminiscing about some of those good times back then, and what everything kind of looked like in the whole scene. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you again hopefully next week, if not the week after. Money Mike out.